Alright, I just want to show you a potent combination of macros and equations. So I'll enable the macro panel from View Studio. Okay. And then I'll begin recording a new macro, and I'll go to Filters, Distort, Equations. Okay, so I'm going to type in an expression such as square root x to the power of 2 plus y to the power of 2, close brackets, divided by a. Then I'll do the same for y, so I'll do square root y to the power of 2 plus x to the power of 2, close brackets, divided by a. Okay, and I can then use the parameter a slider, because I've used it as a variable in my expression, to control the effect. But I'll tailor it further and do divided by 2 for both of these, so it fills the entire image. Okay, so far so good, but here's the really cool bit. I'll click Apply, and the equations filter is added to the recorded operations list. So far so good. Then I'll click the cog icon, and I can choose to expose parameter A to the user. So let's name it something like planetary rings. Click OK. Then we'll stop recording the macro. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and add this macro to the library and call it planetary rings. So it now appears in the library panel. So then, if I just step back and undo the equations filter here, and I then run that macro on the image, you'll see, because I exposed parameter A as planetary rings, I'm given the option of controlling that parameter through the macro. Now that's quite nifty. Let's look at another use. So I'll take a different image here, and across on the macro panel, I'll hit record, and I'm going to duplicate the pixel layer, and I'll call this noise. Okay, so once again, I'll go to Filters, Distort, Equations, and this time I'll type, for example, noise, open bracket, x times y, close bracket, times a. Then I'll do the same here, so noise, open bracket, y, times x, close bracket, times a. Okay, so let's zoom in on the image, get a better idea of what's going on here. So we have a noise expression. We actually have 4 of these. So we can choose 1D, 2D, 3D or 4D noise. So for example, we can do noise 4 for a different pattern type. And if we want to preview just the noise, we can change the extend mode to full, which is quite extreme. So we'll set that back to 0. And then notice once again, I'm referencing parameter A here, which controls the strength of the noise. So I'll click Apply once again. Now let's do some additional operations and give the user a few more configurable options as well. So I'll go to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and just add a very small amount of blurring. Apply. Also, I want monochromatic noise, so I'll add an HSL adjustment layer, reduce the saturation and merge that down into the noise pixel layer. Then finally, I'll control the overall opacity of the noise, say about 75%. Okay, so at this point, I'll stop recording the macro, and then we have to expose certain parameters to the user. So the first one I want to expose is parameter A on equations. And I'm going to call that noise strength. Then on Gaussian blur, I want to expose the radius and call it noise softness. And then finally on set global opacity, I'll just call this noise opacity. Okay, and I will save this as noise generation. Right, so I'll get rid of that noise pixel layer. Let's zoom into the image so we can get a better idea of what this macro is going to do. Then I'll choose noise generation. Okay, and as we can see here, we've exposed certain settings. So we can adjust the noise strength, noise opacity, and I'll leave noise softness where it is because I quite like that. And click apply. And there we go, we've got our noise layer. So that all stemmed just from a simple expression in the equations filter. So once you start experimenting with your own expressions in the equations filter, don't forget that not only can you control the A, B and C parameters within the equations filter dialog, but also you can expose them for control to the end user via a macro. So I hope that's given you some ideas for combining macros with the equations filter. If you have any questions or queries, please don't hesitate to ask on the official Affinity forums, and don't forget to check out the other video tutorials. Thank you for watching.